have been some major coaching changes recently in the NBA, and I want to talk about it. What is going on, y'all? Faiz Sports Talk back at it with another video talking, of course, some NBA. So if you're a fan of the NBA, make sure to go ahead and hit that big red subscribe button down below. Make sure to follow me on all my social media platforms, and guys, hit the bell icon so you are indeed notified every time I do drop a new video. Let's get into it. So, as I mentioned, there were some major coaching changes that happened over the past couple of days. We know the NBA playoffs are going on right now, and they're fantastic, but we cannot ignore these coaching changes. So, which ones are these? There were three in particular, and I want to talk about them. So, let's start with the first one, which was the Indiana Pacers, who hired ex-Mavericks head coach Rick Carlisle. Then we had the Dallas Mavericks, who fired Rick Carlisle, and they hired ex-Milwaukee Bucks, ex-Brooklyn Nets head coach Jason Kidd. And then finally, we have the Portland Trailblazers, who fired head coach Terry Stotts and just hired brand new first-time head coach Chauncey Billups. All right, so three major changes for three franchises. We'll start with the first one being the Portland Trailblazers, because this to me is the most interesting one for sure, okay? The Portland Trailblazers have had Terry Stotts for a very long time, and for me, Terry Stotts, as far as my thoughts on him, they were pretty indifferent. I wasn't a huge fan of the guy, but I didn't think he was a bad coach. And obviously, he was there for a long time, so he did a decent job. They got to a conference finals. We get that, right? But this season, what happened with the Blazers in losing to the first round to an injured Denver Nuggets team. Remember, they didn't have Jamal Murray. That was unacceptable. I fully agreed with them letting go of Terry Stotts. It was time. Who would have been the perfect fit for the Portland Trailblazers? Now, you would have thought that they needed a veteran head coach, right? And Chauncey Billups is not that. Chauncey Billups is a first-time head coach. He's the assistant coach of the LA Clippers. And so you're probably thinking, Faiz, there's a veteran group that are ready to compete for a championship. They need a veteran head coach. True, but I'll tell you this much. They did not need a retread, all right? And what do I mean by that? We had heard rumors about Mike D'Antoni possibly being, interviewed for the Portland Trailblazers job. Look, folks, we know Mike D'Antoni has had good offenses, but he's had his fair share of chances. And so, to me, I didn't want another retread to go to Portland, and you pretty much know, okay, what this guy's about. No, you need a guy who is a fresh voice in the locker room, and that is going to be Chauncey Billups, but also a guy that you're kind of taking a chance on because you're hoping he does the impossible, right, which is help lead the Blazers to a title. Now, I'm not saying the Blazers don't have a championship roster, but we know there's certain teams when healthy in the Western Conference are better than the Blazers, right? The Lakers, Clippers, Suns, Jazz, etc. And so that's the important thing here with Portland is I do like this hire of Chauncey Billups because of the fact that he is a bit of an unknown. And I need that when I'm talking about Portland, because Portland to me has always had a ceiling. And with Terry Stotts, they always had a ceiling. And so Chauncey Billups could be, I'm not saying he will be, but he could be a Tyronn Lue version for the Blazers, like what Tyronn Lue was for the Cavs when they fired David Blatt, right, way back when. Now, of course, they had LeBron James. The Blazers don't. They have Damian Lillard, who's a damn good player, but we know he's not LeBron. Point being is, I do like this hire. I do like them taking a chance on Chauncey Billups, who we know has been interested in coaching in the NBA for a number of years. He just needed an opportunity, so you gave it to him. Let's see what happens. Could this not work out? Sure. But if the other options were a guy like a Jason Kidd, who I'll get into in a second, Mike D'Antoni, etc., I'm good with Chauncey Billups. I like this hire. All right, let's switch gears, talk about the Dallas Mavericks. Okay, the Dallas Mavericks fired Rick Carlisle and hired Jason Kidd. Now, firing Rick Carlisle, did I agree with that? I'm indifferent on that in terms of whether or not they should have kept him or fired him. Now, if the rumors are true and that he was not getting along with Luka, then I agree that you should fire him because your star player is way more important than your head coach. And the head coach is way more replaceable than the star player. We don't know the full details of what happened, but obviously their GM retired as well and moved on. So there's some turmoil in Dallas. But in terms of this hire, if this is just to appease Luka Doncic, because Rick Carlisle himself said they should go out and hire Jason Kidd, fine. But if it's not for Luka, Jason Kidd to me is a bad hire. Jason Kidd was awful with the Nets and with the Bucks. There's a reason he got fired twice, right? And ended up being an assistant coach with the Lakers. Jason Kidd was one of the best point guards in NBA history, but it just did not translate to the coaching space. Now, if Luka and him are able to click, then yes, this was a chance worth taking because you want to keep your star player happy. You want to keep your franchise player, Luka Doncic, one of the best players in the NBA, certainly the best young player in the NBA. You want to keep him happy, and if that's what Jason Kidd is going to do, bringing him in, I got it. But on surface level, not a big fan of Jason Kidd. Just don't think he's very good. Look at his track record. You'll see what I mean. All right, so that's where I'm at. If you're doing it for Luka and it looks like they are, fine. I'm okay with it. Keep your star player happy. But otherwise, bad hire. Finally, let's talk about the Indiana Pacers hiring Rick Carlisle. I think it's a solid move. Indiana is a weird team because you kind of think of them as a veteran team, but at the same time, Sabonis is young, Brogdon is young, Karis LeVert is very young. So they're really not a veteran team. They're still a very young team. And now Rick Carlisle, a veteran head coach, can kind of mold them how he wants to, right? Because you got a lot of pieces here to work with. Like I said, Malcolm Brogdon, a very good young point guard. Karis LeVert, very good, promising two-guard. Sabonis is an all-star. Karis LeVert and Brogdon are both borderline all-stars. And then you've got TJ Warren coming back from injury. He's a very good scorer. So, not to mention Miles Turner, a very good shot blocking center. Like, Indiana has talent, man. This is a playoff team for sure. And Rick Carlisle has got years and years of experience. He will absolutely make this a playoff team. And I believe he's going to kind of try to make this team a tough-minded Indiana team that we've known the style of play to be in Indiana, but at the same time, make them more of an offensive firepower team because they have scores. Like I said, with Brogdon, Sabonis, and LeVert, who can all go for 20 each, and TJ Warren, who can go, like, there is talent on this roster. So I like Rick Carlisle. He was actually the coach of the Pacers way back when in the 2000s. And if you look at the market and who was available, yeah, Rick Carlisle, I mean, you can't argue against his resume, right? He's got a championship and multiple years of head coaching experience. So I like the hiring of Rick Carlisle. I thought it was very solid. So could they have taken a chance on a young guy? Yeah, they could have. But as far as who was out there, Carlisle was the best option in terms of experience and best resume. So I like that. So let me know what you guys think of the three hires. Again, Chauncey Billups to the Portland Trailblazers, Rick Carlisle to the Pacers, and Jason Kidd to the Dallas Mavericks. Leave a comment down below if you agree or disagree, as always. Thanks for watching.